What's up guys, it's me Kupo. Patch 15.7 finally dropped. In this video, we're gonna quickly go over all the changes so you guys don't have to read them. We're gonna go over my opinions on what's the meta gonna look like after this, and we're gonna go over Kiyun's analysis after playing 100 games of PvE on what he feels like are the best comps. So for the highlights, we have buffs to Sorcerer, Soul Fighter, Wraith, Sniper, Rammus, Gnar, Leona, Poppy, Udyr, Ashe, Volibear, Yone, Varus. The augments Overheal and Perfect Form, and 3 items are being buffed. And we have nerfs to Crystal Gambit, Strategist, Kobuko, Dr. Mundo, Kog'Maw, Malzahar, Yasuo, K'Sante, and 7 augments. If you care about cosmetics, these are the cosmetics that are going into the rotating shop, and the set revival for set 7.5 is coming out tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in that content, let me know in the comments as well. If you guys want to see like best comps videos or gameplays of that. So starting off with the large changes, I'm going to read Riot's description and we're going to go over what's changing. So overall, we're buffing the middle tiers of traits. So players can have a few more options on stage 3 and 4 to transition and adjust boards as they hit different things. While 6 Sorcerer can certainly blow up boards with the help of Gwen and Karma, Sorcerer 4 lacks the magic to get it done. A teeny bit more AP may get this magic comp to cause more mayhem. Small buff to 4 Sorcerers, it's just getting a 5% AP buff, so it's not too serious. Currently, Jinx is only played in Star Guardian boards, but wouldn't it be cool if she could be seen firing rockets on flexible sniper boards with a versatile frontline? I think so, and they're buffing the sniper baseline damage amp on 3 and 4 snipers. It's kind of funny because 4 and 5 snipers have the same base damage amp, but it's going to make the transition until you get to Varus a little easier. Now, strategists currently provide the best frontline in the late, and the emblem is one of the most powerful additions to your team. We're tampering down their team-wide shield, but as a reminder, this is a larger nerf for strategists themselves, who gain triple the shield. So this is a huge nerf. They're lowering the amount of the shield after 3 strategists, and especially on 4 and 5 strategists, it's getting a 50 shield nerf, which is insane since that's 50 shield on all of your frontline units. Let's say you have like 4 units in the front line, that's a 200 HP nerf for your team. And that's even more for the strategist unit since each one of them represents a 150 HP nerf. While rate 6 is okay, it's tough getting from 4 to 6. So we're giving the 4 piece a little more pop to help you out before you find that Varus. They're just giving a 5% damage amp to the Shadow Realm damage, but that should help a lot. So other changes that we have here, Soul Fighter's AD and AP per second is being buffed on 4 and 6 Soul Fighter to make that transition to 8 Soul Fighter a little bit easier. And Crystal Gambit 5, this is pretty much where the biggest nerf of the patch is, in my opinion, to pretty much balance the Crystal Malzahar comp that got really popular or the Crystal Ahri comp. They're changing some of the cash outs for how many kills you get with the trait active. So at 6 kills, instead of getting 2 lesser duplicators, you're only going to get 1 lesser duplicator and 4 gold. So it's going to take you a little bit longer to hit that Malzahar or that Ahri. And they're swapping the one of the rewards for the cash out at 12 kills and at 16. At 12 kills, you used to be able to get a strategist emblem plus 3 gold. This was moved to be a 16 kill cash out. And at 16 kills, there was one reward that gave you a completed anvil plus 10 gold. This is being moved to 12 kills to replace the strategist emblem, but it's going to be reduced to 2 gold instead of 10. Now onto the units. Gnar is getting a 1 rage buff. Doesn't really impact the unit that much, since really he's just a trait bot. For 2 cost units, Dr. Mundo had an odd interaction with his ability where he would cleanse debuffs and or crowd control. But since he couldn't cast while he was CC'd, it really would only help him cleanse Sunder and Shred and Malzahar's ability. We're removing this component of his kit so he's less of a Malzahar, which honestly I don't really agree with. I kind of like that Dr. Mundo is a Malzahar counter, but if they have the intention of nerfing Malzahar and balancing him, all right, I see why this is neat. And Kobuko is the overperforming and huggable carry / tank of REROLL Janna's Veteran Comp. We're nerfing his base form slightly with a mana nerf and his mentor damage form even more. So Dr. Mundo's ability no longer cleanses debuffs, and Kobuko is getting 15 mana nerf on his mana cost, and he's getting a huge damage nerf. The scaling damage here, it doesn't seem like much, but the HP damage is a lot less. It's going down from 8% of his HP to 5% of his HP. It's almost half of what it was before. So for 3 cost units, the Vomit Rocket Pocket Monster is still able to dominate 3 cost reroll comps, so we're giving him a healthy nudge down in the hopes that he doesn't regurgitate another reroll meta. So pretty much a Kog'Maw nerf there. He's getting a nerf on his on-hit damage for every single level, and it's a huge nerf at level 3. Malzahar had a weird bug where when a unit dies, they transfer 2 instances of his spell instead of 1. Since he's at the top of the 3-cost meta, we're fairly confident that this fix will act as the nerf that he needs. So Malzahar is getting that bug fix, and he is also no longer offered the mage power. I'm not sure if this was busted on him, since we usually just built Noxious Trap, but possibly this was causing some of these bugs to happen. Now, as a Durian type monster, Rammus has been outclassed by both the classic fire type and the weird lightning. We're giving him a sizable AP buff in the hopes some Rammus solo tank splash comps will show up. So Rammus is getting huge buffs here. He's getting a shield buff on all levels, and he's getting a health per taunted enemy buff on all levels as well. Duelist is still pretty far from dueling for a spot as meta comp, and with Kobako's power down, we're able to give some back to the weakest of the mentor. In addition to an Udyr buff, we do have another Ashe buff to help keep lifting the comp up. So Udyr is getting a healing buff, he's getting a base heal buff on all levels, and a mentor heal buff on all levels. Also, Yasuo is getting a small spell damage nerf, which is a huge nerf to that Yasuo Bastion. Now for 4-cost units, Ashe is getting a mana buff, which will feel even better with the attack speed she gets from Duelist. So she's getting a 10 mana reduction that should help her a little bit. Cassante has been our best 4-cost tank for a while now, so we're bringing him down a tad while lifting our other tanks in the same tier. Cassante is just getting a 50 HP nerf, so it's not too big, but Leona and Poppy are both getting shield buffs at 1 and 2 star, which to be honest with you, I'm a little bit concerned about, since Poppy is kind of popping off in that Mighty Mech comp that we've been seeing get a little bit more popular. So that comp is just getting buffs. It's crazy with how good it is. Next unit here, Volibear is a bench warmer of a secondary carry, whose best item in the game is a Soul Fighter emblem. For someone who can hold a wide variety of items and has fairly flexible traits in Luchador and Edgelord, we want to make sure he's also good enough to be treated as a starter carry by raising his base AD. Pretty long paragraph to pretty much just say a 5 AD buff, but hey, if this makes Volibear a little bit more viable, I'm down for that. Other changes here as well, Yuumi is getting an ability damage buff to bring back that Battle Academia Prodigy comp, and Karma is also getting an ability damage buff at 1 and 2 star. Honestly, I don't get this change. I feel like they're doing it so that Sorcerer is a little bit more viable. But again, like I mentioned with that Poppy change, this is buffing that Mighty Mech comp that is pretty good. It was pretty good in the last patch, and it's just getting buffs all around. It doesn't really make any sense. So for 5-cost units, contributing to making sure that each of our 5-cost feels like an exciting addition, both at 1 and 2 stars, they're buffing Varus and Yone damage at 1 and 2 star. For augments, Howling Gale is too hard to proc early game with 6 champs, so we're moving it back to the final augment option, where you'll be spending more mana and making more tornadoes. So Howling Gale is now banned at 3-2. It's only going to show up 4-2. Echo is just too powerful as a bonus unit, so we're reducing his HP while making his strategist form also need strategists to appear. So huge Isekai nerf here. Echo's health is going down from 1100 to 950, and Isekai now requires at least 1 strategist for the strategist version to appear. So good change there. I mean, I've seen a lot of cases where if you get offered the strategist Echo, you could just go into this, hit 5 strategists super easy, and just have an insane endgame. Now, Zack's perfect form is far from perfect. In fact, he's our worst performing champion augment in the game. So we're giving it a little bit of love for him to bounce back with. So just a damage buff on Zack, he's getting a base ability damage buff across all levels and an empowered ability damage buff across all levels. Other augment changes, Blood Rage damage amp is going down on the top end. The darkness within Summon's health per stage is going down as well, which is interesting. I thought this augment was a little weaker, but I guess it was busted. Game plan hex damage is amp is going down by 2%, so that's another nerf to strategists. Kingslayer is disabled due to a bug. I guess they couldn't fix it. Overheal's max shield and percent healing is going up, so good buff there. Psychic Forge is now banned on 4-2. Tesla Coil's magic damage is going down across all stages. Tournament Titan's health per win is going down. And Twilight Assault, Shen's hero augment, is getting a spell damage nerf across all levels. Now with the item changes, pretty much it's just a buff to Ginzo's, Kraken's, and Last Whisper. On Ginzo's, it's getting 1% more attack speed per second. Kraken's Fury is getting a nerf in max stacks, but that's probably better because this allows you to get that buff a little bit earlier in the fight. And to compensate, you're getting more AD per stack. So it's a general buff to the item since you're going to get more of that utility early on. And Last Whisper's Sunder effect now applies from all damage from all attacks and abilities, not just physical damage. The example that they gave to us here is that Gwen can finally become a utility item holder that every carry never wants to be. But yeah, you could throw a Last Whisper onto Gwen. She's going to hit the whole enemy board and reduce their ult. They're also adjusting the Radiant versions of these items to match the normal version. Artifacts and emblems, they're just reducing Sniper Focus's range so that it's not too oppressive on melee champions. For power-ups, a lot of our reroll comps get power from scaling power-ups after hitting them out of an orb early on in the game. Things like Max Arcana and over 9000 Katarina are the biggest benefactors of these high rolls. So we're bringing the power of these power-ups down so that we don't have to nerf their base full. So good changes there. Max Arcana's base AP is going down by 5%, and over 9000's health per stack is going down from 50 to 35, which is a huge nerf. And I feel like this is the correct nerf, nerfing the health, because that way it doesn't really affect other units that are like corner carries that used over 9000, like Kale or Kaisa. And it just makes that Katarina a little bit squishier, but she can still deal a ton of damage if she gets really good over 9000 stat. Now, removing more of our less powerful power-ups, notably with Classy, which performs well when paired with traits like Heavyweight, but fails to hit the mark with Sorcerers and Bastion. So they're removing Classy from the Sorcerer units and from the Bastion, and putting the stop back in Unstoppable, which provides a ton of utility and power. So Unstoppable is getting a stun duration nerf and a health nerf. Now, other power-ups that are getting changes as well. Best Defense's shield to damage ratio is going down from 140% to 100%, which, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think this was at one point 175%, 160%, something like that. So it's insane that it's going down to like almost half of what it used to be. That's how busted this augment was. Denting Blow's shield increase is going up 5%. This is the Vi power-up. Fairy Tail's damage is going down across all stages. Fury Break's base attack speed is going up by 5%. Mana Rush's weight is going up from 5 to 10, so you're going to see this power up a lot more often on things like Zyra and Jarvan. We already saw Max Arcana and over 9000. Stalking Dart Foxfire's damage is going up 1%. This is the Ahri power up. Super Mega's baseline AD percentage is going up 10%. This is Jinx's power up. Supremacy is getting removed. Thrill Seeker's buff duration is going up 1 second, and we went over the Unstoppable chains. And for bug fixes, the main thing here, they're changing a lot of tooltips to be a little bit clearer on what they do. This includes Tactician's Kitchen, Mind Battery, Know Your Enemy, Resistant, and Overheal. Star Sailor power-up now properly applies its stat bonuses correctly after every combat. Kaisa and Yuumi do the proper amount of damage with bullet hell rather than reduced damage. Monster Trainer champions can be combined when the player's bench is full. And Crystal Gambit prop no longer rounds its visual display, which occasionally caused misleading cash outs to occur. So pretty good patch. I mean, I like the direction that they're going. I feel like they're not adding like new things. They're not going crazy with it. They're just nerfing the high ends from the last patch so that we don't like continue on with this reroll meta. And I like the buffs to the like 4-cost units. So hopefully we get like a fast 8 meta going pretty soon. But we're going to go over Kiyun's prediction of the patch after his scrim games. And it's not looking like that's the case, but we'll see as the patch gets developed. So these are the Spark Notes that Kiyun posted on Twitter. TLDR, the meta is mostly split between reroll and fast 9. 4-cost boards are too inconsistent, which makes sense. So his S tier is 7 Mech Pilot, which is the comp that we uploaded yesterday. If you guys haven't seen that gameplay, there's been a new Mech Pilot innovation where you're throwing Mech Pilot on Aatrox and Senna instead of on Lucian and Senna. So if you guys want to see how to play that comp step by step, I have the video on my channel. S tier is also 6 Bastion and Juggernaut Fast 9, playing around Twisted Fate. 6 Bastion is more consistent due to having more playable 5 costs in Braum, Twisted Fate, Cyrus, Seraphine, Gwen, and Yone. And Katarina reroll, assuming, I guess, if you hit like over 9000 early on in the game. A tier, you still have Mentor Janna reroll, but at least it's not the S tier comp that it was previous patch. Kale reroll is still good. Heavyweight Malzahar reroll is good. B tier, we have Vertical Star Guardian, Kog'Maw, Kate and Jace reroll, the Crew reroll, 5 Crystal Gambit Malzahar, 6 Bastion Xayah, although he's puts that it's the top 4 farmer, so it's probably hard to win a game with this, and heavyweight reroll Smolder. C tier, you have Yuumi Prodigy, Jin Mundo reroll, goes to A tier if you get Double Trouble, 5 Crystal Gambit Ahri, Akali, also a top 4 farmer, 6 Sork, it's a Gwen check, Vertical Soul Fighter, Gangplank reroll becomes A tier with Artifact, Gather Force, Shojin, pretty much the comp that we also uploaded. Fury Break on Kale Frontline to give the fruit buff to Gangplank. Yeah, pretty much the comp that we uploaded on the channel as well. But I feel like it becomes super A tier with an art. 4 Mentor, Rise, and Volibear, and 6 Duelist Ashe. All hero augments are good as it gives direction and a reroll spot. So that's how the meta is looking like for the first couple of days of the patch. We're going to see like stat wise after a day or two to get that list of best comps up on the channel. And if you guys like this type of content, don't forget to drop the video a like, leave a comment on what type of videos you want to see in the future. And just thank you very much for the support, guys. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.